been traveling quite a bit lately. So, I'm going to give you the instructions for the loving kindness meditation. These are going to be the beginner instructions. If you've already practiced this before with me, and you're doing the 6 directions, don't pay attention to this first part. You don't need to go back and go to a spiritual friend and all of that. Okay? When you practice loving kindness meditation, you first start by sending loving and kind thoughts to yourself. You remember a time when you were happy. Before we start, there's 2 postures please do not use. One of them is crossing your legs and the other one is crossing your arms. I just got back from India, and that was India and Sri Lanka. They really like to walk around with their arms crossed. And the reason that I say don't do it is because that is a thinking posture. It's not a listening posture. So, remember a time when you were happy. When that happy feeling arises, it's a warm, glowing feeling in the center of your chest. As soon as that feeling arises, then you make a wish for your own happiness. You need to feel that wish. It's not just recite that wish over and over and over again. You need to feel what it's like to be happy. You know what it's like to be peaceful and calm. You know what it's like to be cheerful or joyful. Bring that feeling up, put that feeling in your heart, and stay with that feeling for as long as you can. Now, the thing with this meditation is your mind is going to get distracted very easily. You'll start thinking about other things. As soon as you begin to start thinking about other things, then please start practicing right effort. Right effort is what I've been calling the 6 R's. Recognize when your mind is distracted. Release the distraction without keeping your attention on it. Relax the tightness in your head, in your mind, caused by that distraction. Smile. This is a smiling meditation. Return to your object of meditation, that is, to yourself and the feeling of loving kindness and the wish. And repeat, staying with that. Your mind is going to get distracted. It doesn't matter how many times your mind is distracted. What matters is that you use the 6 R's and gently come back to your object of meditation. So if your mind goes away 25 times and 25 times in that sitting, you see it, you release it, you relax, you re-smile, you return to your object of meditation and continue on. That is a good sitting. After about 10 minutes, excuse me, after about 10 minutes, then you begin to send loving and kind thoughts to a spiritual friend. A spiritual friend is someone of the same sex. They are alive, not a member of your family. A spiritual friend is someone when you think of them, you have a lot of respect for that person. You sincerely do wish them well. One of the important things that you need to remember about this practice is smiling. This is a feeling meditation. It's not a mental gymnastics kind of meditation. The more you smile, the easier it is to stay with your object of meditation, to stay with your spiritual friend. The more that you smile, the sharper your mindfulness becomes. Mindfulness is remembering to observe how mind's attention moves from one thing to another. So it's a real important thing to stay with your spiritual friend for as long as you can while you are smiling. Smiling helps your mind to be light, and you become much more observant when you're smiling. If a sensation arises in your body and it pulls your attention to it, like a pain, the first thing you need to do is recognize that your attention has been pulled to that. Allow that pain to be there without getting involved in your thoughts about it. Meditation pain can arise anywhere in your body. Meditation pain is caused by breaking a precept. Now, the importance of the precepts can't be overstated. They are the foundation of the practice. And I know when I came back from Asia after 12 years of being there, I was hearing things like, well, it's only breaking, I only can say a little white lie. Oh, I'm tired of hearing about keeping the precepts. Every time you break a precept, your meditation is going to run into problems. That means using foul language. That means saying something that's not true. That means gossip. So please be careful with this kind of thing. You're causing yourself a lot of problems if you break a precept. I'm going to see everybody every day for the retreat. You need to be very honest with me. If I ask you a question and it makes you feel a little uncomfortable, I still want an honest answer. Okay, it is important. Now, the first day of the retreat is going to be the hardest because your mind is still floating around out there. And you're probably going to have some sloth and torpor arise, sleepiness, dullness. Sit where there is a lot of light, but not in the direct sunlight. Sit with your back nice and straight, almost to the point that it hurts. Be that straight, because when you start slumping a little bit, you'll catch it more easily. Then you can straighten up and come back to your object of meditation. The reason that sloth and torpor arises is you're losing your mindfulness and you're losing your interest in staying with your friend. And your mind starts to get a bit dreamy, and then it gets real dreamy, and then your back starts slumping, and then your head starts bobbing. So sitting straighter helps you catch that more quickly. You need to pick up your energy a little bit more. And when you're doing the walking meditation, wherever you're walking, walk for 30 or 40 feet, however far you're walking. Don't turn around and come back. Walk backwards, but stay with your spiritual friend while you're walking backwards. Now, when a pain arises, the first thing that your mind does is start complaining to you about it. I hate this feeling. When I wish it would stop, why doesn't it go away? Every thought about that pain makes the pain bigger and more intense. So the first thing you do is release, relax. Don't get involved in the thoughts. Don't get involved in the story of it. Allow it to be there by itself. Now, this is with an itch, it's with a sneeze, it's with a cough. everything. If you have to cough, let your body be on automatic. Don't try to force yourself not to cough. The whole point of this meditation is learning how to soften your mind. DROPS is a very good acronym. Don't resist or push. Soften your mind and smile. Now, after you let that feeling be there, you'll notice that there's a tight mental fist wrapped around that feeling. That tight mental fist is aversion. I don't like that feeling. I don't want it to be there. But the truth is, when a painful feeling arises, it's there. That's the truth. Anytime you try to fight with the truth, anytime you try to change the truth, anytime you try to make the truth be the way you want it to be, that is the cause of suffering. So allow it to be there by itself. Yes, it's painful. Sometimes it can be quite painful. I don't care. Let it be there. Let go of your stories about, oh, it hurts so much, I want it to stop, I can't stand it. And you turn it into an emergency, and then you have to get up and start walking, so you break your sitting. I want you to sit no less than 30 minutes, and when your sitting is good, sit longer. Okay? Before long, you'll start sitting for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, sometimes even 5 hours. And that's okay. When you're not trying to force yourself and make it happen. This will happen naturally. It'll feel too good to be sitting. You feel just great, and you don't want to break a sitting. I don't want a bunch of Pavlov's dogs here. When you hear a bell, that means it's time to eat, and I'm going to break my sitting because of that. No, don't. We'll make sure you get your food. Don't worry. Don't break a good sitting just for food. So this is kind of important. Don't be attached to bells and sounds. So the more relaxed you are, the more you allow things to be as they are, the more you smile into what you're doing while you're doing it, the faster your progress is going to become. Now, one of the things that's been happening lately at some of the retreats is some people have already been doing one form or another of meditation. And they'll start to go very deep in the meditation, and they can't tell whether their mind is one pointed concentration or not. They can't tell. So they keep asking me, what am I supposed to do with that? 6R. Even though you don't need to. Use 6R and you'll see whether you have absorption, concentration, or just stillness of mind. There is a difference, and it's a big difference. So if you use the 6Rs and relax, you're letting go of any slight attachment you might be having. The thing with one-pointed concentration is there is still craving while you're doing that. And the force of the concentration will stop hindrances from arising. So when you 6R, you're finding out whether that's one-pointed concentration, it has some craving in it, or you'll find out it's not there. Either way is good. Don't have any expectations of what you want this retreat to be. I want to be able to do this or that. No. That's one of the things that will actually cause you a lot of suffering. And you're not going to attain what your expectation is anyway. So don't expect anything to happen. Remember and tell yourself, I don't know what's going to happen next. Whatever is going to happen is fine. My job as a meditator is only to observe. So you're letting go of any longing for some kind of special state to come up and that sort of thing. Generally what happens when somebody starts longing for something, they start pushing, and then they have more energy that they put into it, and then their mind is very, very restless, and then you put more energy into it to stop the restlessness, and that's exactly the opposite of what you need to be doing. You need to be backing off and relaxing. Bring up a feeling of tranquility if you have restlessness. Feel tranquil. That will help overcome the restlessness. Before you go to sleep at night, I want you to make 2 determinations. One is exactly to the second what time you're going to wake up. And 2, I want you to make a determination that when you wake up in the morning, you're going to be smiling and happy. And then keep it going. Okay? Now, when you're doing your walking meditation, you're staying with your spiritual friend. You're not going to be used to staying with a spiritual friend, so your mind is going to get distracted. As soon as you notice your mind is distracted, use the 6 R's and gently come back to being with your spiritual friend and radiating that loving kindness. When you're walking, don't be looking around. Some people like to distract themselves by walking, and that's not the thing that you want to be doing. You want to be staying with your object of meditation and not be distracted. So walk with your eyes down. Walk at a normal pace. Do not walk slowly. As a matter of fact, there's times when I'm going to tell you I want you to walk a lot faster to pick up your energy, to get you're walking so that you get circulation in your system. But you're also walking to stay with your spiritual friend too. Okay. I can't think anything else. Can you? When it's time for an interview, please don't make me wait. At first, the interviews are going to go very quickly because you haven't got a whole lot to say. As you start developing your meditation, the interviews will slow down a little bit, and I'll start talking more with you about what's really happening. So, please be prompt. And sometimes I will have to talk with somebody for a little while because they are going through some kind of stuff. So there needs to be some clarity. I just got back from India, and some real interesting stuff was happening. The first Dhamma talk I gave in India, it was to 3,500 people. And they were so hungry for the Dhamma, it was unbelievable. I had a good translator. Now they're starting to do more with their translations. The thing that with a translator that I need is they have to be doing the practice the way I'm showing so they know how to translate it. It's not just a simple thing of it's quite deep what we do with the meditation. The last Dhamma talk I gave in India was to 6,000 people. Now I know what it's like to be a rock star. Because as soon as I started walking to get away, I got swamped. I mean, there were 400 or 500 people trying to touch me and bow, and they wanted to touch my feet, and they were it's very difficult. I'm not wild about that. We have to educate them a little bit better. But it was quite interesting going to India and spending that time there. I spent a lot of time in universities teaching the teachers of Buddhism. And they got real excited. And they want me to come back and hold retreats there, which I'm willing to do. but I can't give a retreat for more than 35 people. And that means they would want me to stay there for at least 6 months, giving a retreat every 10 days. That's what they want. Whether they're going to get it or not, I doubt it. But it is kind of interesting, the enthusiasm that they have. Now, he was a lawyer he was during the time of Gandhi. And he was an untouchable. And the untouchable is a problem in India. It still is a problem. And I don't understand how that came to be. Human beings are human beings. And now I'm starting to understand how. Don't sit with your legs crossed, please. I'm starting to understand why the Buddha was so much against the caste system. Because they make people walk with a broom dragged behind them so that it can take their footprint out of the dirt so a Brahmin won't touch it and become soiled. What nonsense that is. But I was with quite a few untouchables, and we would go into a coffee house just to get some tea and relax for a little bit, and they wouldn't serve us even water because that was a Brahmin place. It's remarkable. Anyway, this lawyer, he really researched all of the different kinds of religion there are in the world, and he came to the conclusion that Buddhism was the best of them all. And he organized 7 million untouchables to become Buddhist at the same time all over the country. There's 3 different time zones, and he organized that everybody became a Buddhist at the same time. He also wrote the Constitution for India, and he was showing people a lot about Buddhism, but he didn't have any meditation experience. And that's what they really need there. They need the meditation experience. Goenka was very popular there, but he was not teaching Buddhism. He was teaching what he called vipassana. And as I was going into the colleges, this lawyer also set up 35 universities for free for the untouchables. It was paid for by the government. And they're becoming the highly educated people. They're the ones that they're into the IT, and they're starting to starting to hire Brahmins and have them work for the untouchables, which really causes that causes problems, and they do have riots happening because of this. I was in Mumbai and the whole city got shut down. The airport was closed. The post office was closed. You couldn't even use a telephone. It was for 2 or 3 days. It wasn't much of a big deal, but people were getting hurt, and that's really sad. So they're real interested in having loving kindness be taught in the country. So I left Sister Kema there, and they in India, not only do they have trouble with untouchables, they don't like to take any advice from women. So what I did when I was there was I allowed her to give a talk for a half an hour before I gave a talk, telling them that she knows every bit as much as I do, and you have to pay attention to her. So I'm in the process of getting them to accept women as teachers. But there's an awful lot of monks that they became monks with a good intention, but they didn't have anybody to teach them. So they're not as educated as they could be. And we're going to be starting up a monk college. And they are going to get educated in the suttas. It's going to be a 4-year college, and it's going to be somewhat tough. We want educated. We want them to be very well versed in what the Buddha was teaching. And this is a college that when you first come, you have to do a meditation retreat. They have to know what the meditation is about. And this is kind of revolutionary. I seem to be involved in a lot of change in the Buddhist world for some reason. I don't know why. But I think it's going to be really exciting to be able to influence 7 million people that are really excited. I mean, they were hanging on every word that I was saying. They were really, really listening very deeply. And sometimes I would say, okay, now I want you to sit and smile. And boy, was that something. To see 3,000 or 4,000 people, and they all had smiles on their face, and they all followed the directions. Do you know how unusual that is? Especially in this country, everybody wants to, I want to do it my way. So, the more you smile, and that means smile with your mind, smile with your eyes, smile with your lips, little smile, smile in your heart. The you can keep your mind light and smiling, the faster you are going to progress in the meditation. I promise. If you don't, your meditation is going to be more difficult. Your choice. Now, every morning you're going to be taking the precepts. If you happen to break one precept in the day, the whole day is going to be very, very difficult for you. If you break a precept, if you say something that wasn't true, your mind is going to get restless, and it's going to get real restless. So when you take the precepts in the morning, take them with a very alert, uplifted mind that's paying attention, not just doing something by rote. Pay attention to keeping your precepts and realize how truly important it is. This purifies your mind very much. Now, when you take the precepts, if you are taking medicine in the evening and you need to have a little bit of food, that's okay. That food is considered medicine. Don't want you eating full meals, but taking a little bit of food, a couple crackers or a piece of bread, something like that. Although bread might be hard to find here because it's gluten. They're giving us gluten-free retreat. But it's okay, you're not breaking a precept. But I don't want you to, in the middle of the night, get up and go, oh, I got to get something to eat, I'm hungry. No, don't do that. Okay. So, do you have any questions? And it's good to have questions. Okay, then let's share some merit. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we've thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.